This morning, growing anger and anguish as nearly 15,000 General Motors workers wake up to the harsh reality that what President Trump has been promising for years did not come true for them. He promised jobs in a booming auto industry, and now 4 weeks before Christmas, the president is firing back at GM's decision to shut down 5 plants in North America. Christina Leshy is outside of one of those plants in Lordstown, Ohio. Christina, I have been there. I have spoken to those workers. You are doing that today. What is the reaction on the ground? Because that's where he made so many promises that just didn't come true.
Anger, confusion, and shock, Poppy. This is a big blow to the local economy. And everyone we spoke to this morning, from the mayor to the small business owners to the union leaders, say it's not just about the 1,500 jobs possibly impacted here, but it's about the ripple effects. It's about the small businesses who may not see their revenue go up, in fact, go down. It's about the possibility that the school size of the student population may shrink. That might impact school budgets. All of that is on the minds of the community here today, and we're hearing it loud and clear. Just to put this into context, this community has been reeling with layoffs for quite some time now. About over 1,000 people were laid off in 2007. Over 1,000 were laid off earlier this year. So it's been a painful couple of years for this community, and a real sense of frustration and confusion because GM is using this word unallocated, and people here don't know what that means. They know that the company's going to stop production on the Cruze, which you'll see right behind me, but they don't know if that means there's a possibility that GM will bring production of another vehicle here, some other vehicle that perhaps sells much better than the Cruze, which wasn't selling, and that was the reason for the production to stop in the first place, Poppy.
And I remember going there, Christina, and seeing right after the auto bailout and how proud the workers were there. They had another big Cruze sign slapped up on the side of the plant. It was a red Cruze at the time, and the workers were feeling good, and now those hopes are dashed. But it's not just that the Cruze wasn't selling, right? I mean, some of this has to do with the president's tariffs. He says it's not the tariffs, but GM warned otherwise back this summer, right?
Correct. There is a possible headwind to the entire auto industry, which will have a huge impact. And that's the possibility that the administration puts auto tariffs on imported cars. And that would impact American companies that make cars overseas and import them for sale here in the U.S. And that is a possible headwind. You know, that specific tariff didn't impact this decision, but steel and aluminum tariffs have been also a big headwind. And those were taking a bite out of profits of automakers. GM didn't cite that specifically in the release yesterday or in any of the messaging they put around this, but they probably don't want to anger the administration on top of what is already a contentious situation, obviously, between the administration and GM right now.
And let me just ask you finally, when you look at sort of what's been happening to the auto sector, 1 million vehicles per month is the decline we've seen since September of last year. That is significant. I mean, is this a broader sign of economic pain that is to come? How worried should this make people big picture?
Look, I think that we are seeing certain softening across the economy right now. And yes, this is an example of that. I think the stock market has been signaling that for quite some time. So yes, but I would say that this is a purely local story right now. We're going to have to see how this plays out nationally. But when you start to see demand for vehicles soften like that, most economists will take that into consideration and say, you know, there is some softening in demand. That said, Poppy, consumer confidence is still high, and that's still driving a lot of spending from the consumer standpoint at this point.
All right.
Poppy.
Thank you for being there and reporting on the ground, Christina. Appreciate it.
Protesters in Alabama are demanding justice for a 21-year-old